Welcome to Isekai Insider, where all isekai get a 10 out of 10 and everything else gets judged fairly. Today we're covering all anime releases for the 2023 summer season. Everything is going to be judged completely based off of its first episode. If I counted correctly, there are 28 new releases that are not new seasons or continuations of existing anime. These are brand new anime. I'm going to do a separate video for my top 5. So if you want to check that out and you just want to see the top 5, go check that video out. So we're going to go through 23 others. Some of them are not so great and some of them are pretty cool. And we're going to cover all of that today. You'll probably be able to figure out what my top 5 are just by watching this video and not seeing them in it. Alright, starting off in no particular order. These are not in order of what I liked least to what I liked best. We're just going to go and see where it takes us. Alright, so starting us off is Liar Liar. This is about a kid that is a new transfer student into a high school. And it is a high school that prides itself on competition. And within this competition, you play games to gain ranks and become the best, highest ranked person in the school. Sometimes when people gain ranks in this world, they get special abilities attached to those ranks where they can do special actions that would normally not be allowed by the rules. The main character for the Liar Liar portion of it gets the lying skill. The concept is pretty interesting. It tries to grab your attention immediately with playing the game. I thought that the first game played in it was a little lackluster and wasn't really feeling the vibe of that portion of it. But once the main character gets in and is being told all of the information by a member of faculty and how this world works that he has now become a part of, that interaction was actually pretty cool and interesting and really done well. The dialogue was done really well. I enjoyed that portion of it, but outside of that, this is one that I would say is going to be pretty mediocre. Next we have My Tiny Sempai. The show tries to kill you with cuteness. There is an extreme amount of adorable cuteness in this, layered on top of sexual tension with a heaping helping of innuendo, one-liner after one-liner after one-liner of being provocative without being explicit. It totes that line really well. If you enjoy really cute things, if you enjoy that foreplay of innuendo in your dialogue, then you will love this anime. It is not my cup of tea, but it actually seems like this for anybody that is an enjoyer of those concepts. You will love this anime. So go watch My Tiny Sempai. Next up, we have an anime called Temple. And this is about a gentleman whose father left him as a child to go be a playboy and get as many women as he possibly could. This left a stigma on him and his family name and made people not want to be around him as he was growing up. This made him actually hate the intimate aspects of relationships and relationships with women in general. It goes into the most ridiculous, ecchi scenes, over the top ecchi, in your face, not something that I personally enjoy. Just huge amounts of fan service, but at the same time, the dialogue and some of the ways that they did the scenes actually made me laugh out loud. It takes a lot for an anime to make me just actually burst out laughing. And this one managed to do that about 2 times during the first episode. It's not something that I would typically enjoy, but if you enjoy extremely ecchi things and really funny things, this is going to be your go-to anime. So check out Temple. Alright, next on the list is My Unique Skill Makes Me OP, even at level 1. So anyway, this is about a guy that gets transported to another world. And in this world, he has one skill that makes him OP. And that skill is crazy drop rates. So if you're ever playing an RPG and you were looking for that 1% drop rate, he'd probably get it on the first try. So things like killing an enemy and getting, that would normally drop a carrot, he would get a giant carrot. Killing enemies that drop 10 bean sprouts, usually he gets 100, 150 bean sprouts. So just an overabundance or an omega drop rate is what his OP skill is. Is that interesting enough to carry an anime? Yes. Does this anime have really bad character designs, in my opinion? Yes. Does this anime have lackluster, boring animations that leave you wondering where the action is? Yes. Is this anime an isekai? Yes. 10 out of 10. Must watch. All right, next up we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Shadowverse. It's just Yu-Gi-Oh! Next, we have Reign of the 7 Spellblades. This is just a wannabe Harry Potter with really good character designs and animation. And, you know, I really wish that it was a little more captivating in this first episode. I was actually extremely bored watching it. I know I'm probably going to get some flack for that. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't actually watched anybody's review of this, so to know exactly where people stand on it. But I was extremely bored. The beginning was really... everything was so beautiful in the beginning scenes that whenever it was all happening, I was kind of entranced by it. But as the story progressed, and especially after that first attack that happens in the town square, and it's just these 6 kids that actually stand up to the attack. There were a ton of people there, and a lot of them are people with spellcasting abilities that have been there for many years, and there were supposedly adults in there as well. I don't understand how these kids ended up. It didn't make sense how that scene played out. Just watch it and you might see what I saw. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm a little irritated because this is definitely within my comfort zone of types of things that I enjoy, and should be an automatic, this is something that I'm going to watch. I'm definitely going to give it a couple of episodes to see. There was one point where there's a little bit of intrigue introduced near the end of the first episode that made me go, okay, maybe that could be interesting. We'll see where that goes. Again, I'm going to give it some episodes, but man, that first episode was so boring to me. I don't know. Tell me what you think. So, next is Rurouni Kenshin, the 2023 remake of the all-time classic anime. I have to say that I am extremely biased about this anime. I'm 37 years old. I was born in 1986. And I remember I was like 12 years old. There was this mom and pop video store. The gentleman that owned the video store was super friendly, and whenever I would go in there, he would make recommendations for movies, and I liked going there a lot more than Blockbuster because of that. It was called Aardvark Video. I'll never forget it. I went in there one time and was talking about how I liked, Dragon Ball Z, and I wish that there was more animation like Dragon Ball Z. And you have to remember, this is the late 90s. The only anime I had really been exposed to at that point was, Dragon Ball Z and original Dragon Ball, Samurai Pizza Cats, and Pokemon. Ronin Warriors was another one that I really enjoyed. And I was talking to him, and he gave me 3 videos Samurai X, Trust and Betrayal, both of those, and Ninja Scroll. And I went home and watched all of them back to back, and Trust and Betrayal basically set me on a journey of loving anime for the rest of my life. So when I say I have a very biased opinion of Rurouni Kenshin, I do. I don't think it's one of the best anime ever created or anything like that, but I will be watching every episode of this anime as it comes out. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Next up is The Gene of AI. And this one is actually pretty interesting. I don't typically enjoy sci-fi anime that much, or just sci-fi in general. I much more prefer fantasy than sci-fi. There are some sci-fi things that I really do enjoy. And this one caught my attention. It's set in the future where androids have been created that basically are exactly like humans in every way, except that they are still android. So the only difference between them and humanity is that humanity is made out of biological material, and the androids, of course, are made completely out of synthetic materials. And for some reason, whoever created them made them with the same mental flaws and reasoning that humans have, which is strange to me, because if they have actual computers for brains, being able to process information and come up with logical solutions to their problems and situations should be no problem. But anyway, I digress. So the main character is a doctor for android kind, and they get illnesses that are basically viruses and different things like that. And creating a copy, like an android creating a mental copy of itself in order to basically become immortal, is completely outlawed and will put you in prison for doing that act. But this doctor does, if he's paid enough, will do illegal things in order to help out the androids. Really interesting premise. Really enjoyed this show. I'm definitely going to continue watching it. And we'll see where it goes from there. I think that it's going to be a really good one. Next up is The Girl I Like. Forgot Her Glasses. This anime is about a young boy who likes a girl. And one day, that girl forgets her glasses, and he gets to spend the entire day helping her because she forgot her glasses. And it's actually a really cute little romance anime. I enjoy every genre of anime, even the romance. And this one seems like it could be pretty entertaining. It has some really cute moments in it. Comical moments, nothing just make you like burst out laughing or anything, but some cute little comical moments in it. What I really enjoyed was even the parts that were 3D animated instead of 2D animated, especially the opening sequence. What's really cool about 3D animation is that they can do things with the camera work that is a lot more like a feature film. It just gives it a lot more depth and really interesting shots that they can do, how the camera actually follows the character instead of just still frames. Yeah, I think this is one that I'm going to enjoy at least for a few more episodes. It's probably not one that I'll stick with the entire time unless there's just something about the story that hooks me. There wasn't anything about the actual story that hooked me in the beginning. I just thought that the artwork was beautiful. The camera work was really interesting, and there were just some really cute and comedic moments that I just really enjoyed. For it to get me to stay for the long run, it's definitely going to have something interesting story-wise to hook me in. Next is The Great Cleric. Have you ever caught yourself going, oh my god, this is the most generic, boring thing I've ever watched in my entire life? This is that show. The main character design, all of the other character designs, they feel like not even side characters. They look and they feel like background characters. Why? I need to understand what the purpose of creating something and putting money into something that is this generic and boring. I mean, we do it with American television all the time. I get it, but oh my god. Anyway, Isekai, 10 out of 10 must watch. Oh, I didn't even tell you what it was about. I didn't even tell you what it was about. I forgot. Look. Okay. Okay. Guy gets reincarnated into a new world. Transported might be a better descriptor because he's fully grown. Getting into the new world, he doesn't actually start as a child. So and here's the thing, I can't even remember the circumstances of how he. Oh, I remember. Was it? I remember. He got shot and killed. He got shot. Yeah, that's right. So technically reincarnated, but into a full-grown body. And when he gets there, his main skill is that he's a healer. So he's a healer, becomes a cleric, and vows to heal anyone, regardless of race or money, and make sure that as little people as he can muster die from grievous injury. Because all of the other healers in this world suck. Everything about this anime is so boring. Even his menu, when he opens up his menu, looks like something from the original Final Fantasy. Like, just that blue and white, just so generic and boring. Alright, Sweet Reincarnation is the next anime. And again, this is about a person who is actually reincarnated, comes back as a child and is raised in a new world. And he died. He was a creator of sweets, the greatest creator of sweets on earth, or trying to become that. And he gets crushed by one of his sweet creations and dies. And is reincarnated into another world, son of a lord, of course. And as a son of the Lord, he decides that he wants to continue his journey to become the greatest creator of sweets that the world has seen. And thus doing so has really doesn't do that at all in the first episode. He gets some magical abilities that are kind of cool and helps fight some bandits and buy some apples. Apples are kind of sweet. And he talks about making sweets with the apples, but I don't think he does that. I read a little bit into the manga just to see if it was how long it took for him to like actually start pursuing that part of the plot. You know, that's the gimmick of the story, and I want to see him making sweets, but instead we get a battle against bandits with his magic abilities. And yeah, I mean, he ends up making some sweets with the apples at some point, but I can't remember if that was in the actual episode of the anime or if it was in the manga piece that I read. Anyway, it was really boring. I didn't read that far into the manga, and yeah, anyway, Isekai, 10 out of 10, gonna watch every episode. God, I hate myself. If you're wondering why the seat's like this, it's because of these guys. Reborn as a vending machine, I now wander the dungeon. Take a guess what it's about. Guess. A guy gets reborn as a vending machine in another world. When I put this episode on and hit play, I watched, and I was pleasantly surprised. This was actually a very entertaining anime. I definitely found myself going, I'm going to enjoy this a lot. So the guy gets reincarnated as a vending machine. That vending machine has a very specific amount of dialogue options it can choose from in order to interact with its surroundings. But the guy is stuck inside, mentally stuck inside this vending machine, and has full thought, and it has to figure out ways sometimes to interact with the person to let them know kind of what he's thinking at that time. How he gets power is from money. So when people put money into the vending machine, he can use that money as a currency to buy blessings that make new possible items that he can sell that make him get things like barriers and different things to be for defensive purposes. And it's actually really interesting and cool. I went into this going, this is going to be one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. And I came out of it going, that was so dumb, it was so good. And I'm going to enjoy every second of this anime. Isekai, 10 out of 10, gonna watch every episode. Next up, Classroom of Heroes. I heard that you like heroes who are OP and defeat demon lords, and I heard you like ecchi. Well, if that's you, boy, I got a show for you. Check out Classroom of Heroes. This literally, that's the story. So there's a hero. That hero defeats a demon lord. They create a school to train future heroes. And the ex-hero, who never had any friends or anything, decides that he's going to join the school himself. And he's super OP. And there's a lot of fan service and ecchi going on at the same time that he's trying to make friends with everybody. And they're just like, you know what, nudity, just full on nudity, just cuz. If you enjoy that type of thing, this is definitely for you. I mean, the main character seems really cool. I like a lot of the character designs in this. When you start crossing over that line of just doing fan service for fan service sake, I just get turned off, man. I'm just done at that point. Not for me. It's going to be for a lot of people, but not my thing. Level 1 Demon Lord and 1 Room Hero. This anime is about a hero and friends that defeat a demon lord. I think we've heard this before. Defeat a demon lord, and that demon lord vows to come back for vengeance, and comes back early for vengeance, and is only at level 1 and has become a little chibi baby person, and goes to find the hero. And the hero has become a shut-in that doesn't care about the rest of the world anymore. And it really ticks the demon lord off, so the demon lord decides to stay and take care of the hero and get the hero back in shape. It's actually a really interesting premise. I really enjoyed it. I didn't like the character designs for the demons that it has shown. It actually has some really good comedic moments and just hits the right points for me. I think this is going to be a really fun anime to watch. My money is that this is going to be just one to throw on and just enjoy the time that you have with it. It's not going to be in your top 10. It's not going to be in your bottom 10. It's going to be one of those that you just had a blast watching, and you'll move on to something else after it's over. Next, we have the most heretical last boss queen. And this one, what I need to ask. So if you are a male character, you get reincarnated into a fantasy world and become OP and get crazy abilities and do a bunch of really cool stuff. And if you're a female reincarnated isekai character, you get turned into the villain and have to save yourself because you're gonna die if you don't. Somebody's coming to kill you. Somebody is out for your life because, sorry, ladies, you got the short end of the stick on this one. You know, you get to be villains, but not really. You're always super nice people, but the character was a villain and somebody wants you dead. In this lovely anime, the main character gets isekai'd into the most evil person in the world, in this world. And she's a really nice person, and she has to figure out a way with her knowledge of this world, and because it's based on a video game that she played, and her knowledge of this video game, that she has to figure out a way to survive. God, the character that, like, a lot of the times these characters are, I mean, they're pretty nasty characters, but the one that she went in, like, this lady like made a little kid kill his mom in the original game. And yeah, this is a bad character, but the show actually seems like it's going to be really good to watch. It is going to be a good time. It's going to be interesting to see what they do different, because so far it seems like it's pretty much the same as the other ones that are like this. I can't think of the names of any off the top of my head, but I've seen 4 or 5 of these exact same premise anime. But yeah, isekai, 10 out of 10, must watch. Next we have Synduality Noir. It's like they took parts of Gurren Lagann and Darling in the Franxx and smushed them in maybe a little Outlaw Star and created an interesting world. So I'm really torn on this one because the action sequences were not awe-inspiring. They weren't that great, but the character designs were fantastic in this. I really enjoy the character designs. Even the mech designs are interesting. It would have been nice if they had a little more variety in the mech designs, which they might later on. At first I was like, oh, these mech designs are pretty cool, but after you realize that, like, the 10 people that have the mechs, they're basically all the same, just with different color schemes. You're like, oh, okay. Anyway, what this is about is it is in a kind of post-apocalyptic world type deal where it seems like there's either like a synthetic enemy of humanity, or possibly an alien enemy to humanity. It plays off some really cool ideas, like you see a computer mouse that the main character has collected, and somebody asks him what it is because he's like, oh, put that down, that's mine. And whenever he grabs it from him, he's like, I have no idea what it is. So there's like, it shows the old technology that used to exist, but nobody knows what it is. It's actually pretty interesting, like some of the concepts and just the small things that they add in to make you immerse yourself into the world a little bit. At the beginning, the main character finds an android that is not currently awake in an abandoned ruin, and takes the android with him. And in this world, androids and humans partner up inside of the mechs, and the android runs, you know, most of the more advanced mechanics of the mechs, while the human shoots stuff, is what it seems. More than likely, the android that he found is going to be a very special android that is going to give him probably more interesting abilities than any of the other, I think they're called drifters, if I remember correctly, any of the other pilots. I'm sure that's probably what the premise is going to be going forward. It seems super generic storytelling, but at the same time, it has some just attention to detail. I can see this going one of two ways. Either they keep that small attention to detail and we get a really fantastic anime that, even with lackluster action sequences, will have some really cool world building and character development going forward, or we just get that little bit in the first episode and it's going to just continue to be extremely generic and play off of stealing other mech anime ideas. Next we have The Dreamin Boy is a Realist. It's about a young man who has bugged the ever-living crap out of a girl to try to get her to date him for a very long time, and she keeps saying no, but he hasn't been able to take no as an answer, and finally his brain just clicks and he finally takes no for an answer. After that happens and he stops pursuing her, everybody freaks out because they're like, something must be wrong with him. Even the girl that has been telling him no is just like, she gets mad about it. And I'm like, who is writing this, and who is the audience that you're trying to reach with this? I don't know. This isn't for me. It's fine. It's an interesting premise to a story. It is different, but at the same time, it's like, man, like, I know who your audience is. It ain't me. Next, we have Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence. And this anime, is it inappropriate? It might be. So what this anime is about a pastor that runs a church, and he had found a saint, a young woman who is able to use saintly magic and do miracles, and gives advice to the villagers whenever they're having a bad day, or whenever they're needing to figure out the best path to lead them forward in life. But it seems like it's going to be a romance anime between a saint and a pastor, and I mean, I don't mind it personally. It doesn't bother me, but it seems like it's a very inappropriate concept to have. Well, she's in love with him. He is oblivious to her constant affections towards him. It is extremely cute. Yeah, it seems like, and one of those anime that you can just, if you got nothing else to watch, you can throw it on and, kill a couple hours after a few episodes come out, or once the season's done, you can, it's something you can kind of binge a little bit, just whenever you just having a rainy day or something. I don't think that this is going to be anything special, and it's probably going to be quite enjoyable for a lot of people. Okay, so next we have Atelier Ryza, or Atelier. I'm not 100% sure how to say that word. This is an anime based off of a video game series that has over 30 titles. You gotta be making some money, right? If you've put out over 30 games in this universe. You disappoint. It seems like that they put this anime out and are banking on the fact that people play the games to watch this anime, with putting zero effort into making it interesting or fun to watch. This was, out of everything that I watched, I've watched all 28 anime that are brand new for this season so far, and there might be more coming out later, but so far the new ones that are out, there's 28. Out of the 28 that I watched, this one ticked me off the most. When I know how long this series has been running as a video game series, I look at your character designs. The character designs are what is going to sell this anime. The character designs are great. The color and the art itself is fantastic in this. But this is one of the most boring things that I've watched. And so I'm watching it, all of a sudden I'm like, geez, it feels like are they getting to a point. Like, how it feels like I've been watching this for, almost a half hour now, and nothing has happened. So I pause it to see how long I have watched it and how much longer there is. I'm thinking it's a normal, 24, 25 minute episode. And then I see it says 45 minutes. So already I'm like, okay, this was an hour first episode aired, right? So I'm thinking in my head, like, if I was watching this live with commercials and I'm already bored watching the show, and then you throw commercials in there in this hour long, block of time that I'm wasting watching this, I'm going to be pissed at the end of this episode. It took them 40 plus minutes to get to the point, of the point being alchemy. That's what these games are about, is like becoming an alchemist. The action sequence that they actually have in it is on the same level as some of these like low budget, like terribly done anime. Some of the worst action sequences that you could possibly imagine. And I was just so blown away that a company that is, I haven't looked at their sales records for their games or anything like that, but if you've put out 30 plus titles, you better deliver an anime. If you make an anime in that world, you better be delivering on that anime. Like, unacceptable. This may not be the worst one on the list, but this is damn sure the one that pissed me off the most. Anyway, am I actually the strongest? Is our next anime. Like I was saying earlier, male character, reborn in a world, OP powers. Is he actually the strongest? Yes, because that's how these things work. He is the strongest. Absolutely. This is about a guy who gets reincarnated as a baby into a fantasy world to a lord and a lady, of course. So all humans, the most powerful ones, are only in the double-digit power level. So the readers that they have only go up to the double digits. What they see is 0-2 out of 0-2. His actual power level is 1002 over 1002. He's literally the strongest being in the world. But so they think he's only a power level 2 that can only go to a power level 2, that he is at his highest peak performance at power level 2. So they dump the baby in the woods to be devoured, or whatever happens to babies in the woods, right? There's nothing inherently special about this one. It'll do. It'll do in a pinch. It'll do in a pinch. Anyway, Isekai 10 out of 10. Must watch. All right. Anyway, Ayaka. This is an anime about an orphan whose father was somebody with supernatural abilities. And when the father passes, the child gets sent to the mainland, and his family is originally from an island where there are many people with or at least some people with supernatural abilities, and others that know that these people have supernatural abilities. But he gets sent to the mainland to grow up on the mainland. His power goes out of control a few times while he is growing up. He injures some people pretty severely, and so he becomes scared of his abilities. People from the island come to get him, and they bring him back to the island, and they are going to train him in order to use his abilities to keep balance in the world. And apparently his father was the most powerful of these people with abilities at the time, and they want him to take up the mantle, take up the reins, become one of them. This one has such huge potential, but I don't think that it quite hits right in order to grab a mainstream audience or a big audience. I think at least from episode 1. Now, if it gets 3 or 4 episodes in and has, that punch to it that we are going to need it to have, which I haven't read the manga on this one. I don't know if there is a manga. I don't know if they're making a manga, anything like that. All I know is that I watched episode 1 of this anime, and it wasn't quite good enough to me to place itself above others. It was good. I did enjoy what I saw. The character designs are very well done. The animation was decent. It wasn't amazing, but it was decent. I think that this one has potential. I am definitely ready to watch more of this, and I think that people should give this one a try. Absolutely. Yohane the Parhelion, Sunshine in the Mirror, is the next anime that we're going to be talking about, and this one is about a young girl who has moved to the big city from a remote village that she used to live in, and wants to make it big in the entertainment industry as a singer. She fails all of the tryouts and interviews, and it seems like it's because of her personality, her attitude of thinking she's the best, wanting to be the best. I did not really enjoy the main character in this. After that, she goes back to her small village, coastal village, to stay at her parents' home for the time being, and there's like a giant wolf, the talking wolf, that meets her there, and it all seems pretty interesting. The character designs are really well done. I did like that part of it. Seems like it's going to be a slice of life mixed with some fantasy elements. I give everything at least 3 episodes. Everything. Literally everything. I watch at least 3 episodes just in case, because first episodes are not always great in anime. But judging it based purely on episode 1, it was pretty boring, and I didn't click with this one at all. Didn't really enjoy the main character. I get it. I get wanting to be the best, wanting to make something better, bigger and better out of your life than the small town theme. But it just didn't click with me. So for the last one, but certainly not the least on today's video, is going to be my actual number 6. So don't forget, I'm doing another video of my top 5. This is my actual number 6, and a lot of people are probably like, what? Kenshin was in this list. It's not even in your top 6 for the summer, and you talked about, your emotional ties to that franchise. Yeah, man, like, I like Kenshin and all, but dang, like, it's really not just the most impressive story in the world, but it is a good story. But this is my number 6, and that is Undead Murder Farce. I don't typically like anime that try to be as artsy as they possibly can, with like jumping back and forth between very artistic shots and trying to just kind of be all over the place. And this one, even though it does that at points, I love the dark, like gothic vibe, just that dark tone, because you have, this going into the westernization of Japan. That is starting to happen. The Europeans have moved in, and the westernization of Japan has started to happen. What this is about is a half ogre, so half demon type character that is part of a freak show and fights other demons and spiritual entities for the entertainment of the masses, as he is slowly dying, and his life force is, the more he fights, the faster he's going to die. he meets an immortal who is now just a talking head. That immortal gives him a mission to help her die. She wants to die. It was done so well. The action sequences were fantastic. The animation's fantastic. The character designs are just amazing in this. I absolutely love this first episode. But yeah, this anime kicked it off right. Just having a kissing scene with a disembodied head, that is a huge selling point, right? But anyway, if you enjoyed this, please check out my top 5 2023 summer anime. And in that top 5, there's gonna be my number 1. I have extremely high hopes for that. I think it's gonna be one of my favorite anime of all time. I could be wrong. It could end up being a bust, but I don't think it's gonna be. But anyway, if you enjoyed this, please leave a like, please subscribe. Anyway, y'all have a good day, and I'll see you later.